What's going on, guys? Boost Auto here, and in this video we're showing you how to install our Lumastep M2 light-up running boards and our Boost Auto powered running boards to 2015 through 2020 Ford F150 trucks. Let's dive in. Introducing Lumastep M2, the successor of Boost Auto's Lumastep M1, and introducing Boost Auto powered running boards, the non-illuminated kin of Lumastep M2. They come with the same lighting technology and functions you know, and with upgrades you'll love. Experience the comfort of our premium auto retract and auto deploy technology, featuring front motors that output over 2 times the torque of some of the other stuff out there. Don't have to worry about tacky, finicky magnets at every single one of your doors, or blocking access to your OBD port. Our wiring is meant to be tucked away and hidden, so a tangled mess of wires and harnesses is one less thing you need to worry about. These guys are made with 6000 series aerospace grade aluminum. With a 600-pound capacity on each side, rest assured, these boards will take whatever you throw at them. So, whether you option for our crisp white running light or our sleek amber running light, you can pair it with our awesome startup sequence. Option for our standard flashing signal, or go a step further with our sequential turn signal, where the amber signal swipes across the length of the board. Lumastep M2 can be optioned out as switchback, meaning your boards will match all other Boost Auto products on your truck. Option out rock light functionality on your boards. It'll overtake all other functions and output a solid white light when you need it most. Customize further with our step pads and get the finishing look with added grip and durability. Boost Auto-powered running boards feature all of the awesome features from Lumastep M2 without the lighting functionality for those who love to keep a low profile. With so many awesome features and specs, it's safe to say that Boost Auto's Lumastep M2 light-up running boards and Boost Auto's powered running boards are truly a step above the rest. Now, let's get a couple Fitment-related items out of the way. This video is specifically for 2015 to 2020 Ford F150 trucks that are either Super Cab or Super Crew. We're offering both styles of our boards for a wide selection of fitments and regularly expanding our fitment catalog. So, to get the latest in fitment information, availability, and to purchase our running boards, go to boostauto.com. With that out of the way, let's get into the install.
Let's go through what's going to come in your kit. You'll receive a bracket box and your running board box. Your running board box is going to contain both your driver and passenger running boards. And if you option for Lumastep M2 light-up running boards, you're also going to receive your lighting harnesses. This is going to be your primary side. You can differentiate the two by the fuse holder and the battery connections. This is your driver side lighting harness. It doesn't have any battery connections, it just has these quick connection to connect to your primary side. Next up, you can option for our plug-and-play adapters. This is going to make hooking up to your headlights as easy as can be. If you don't option for the plug-and-play adapter, you'll receive our Hardwire adapter and the supplied T-taps to make it work. If you option for rock light functionality on your boards and you purchase Boost Auto's rock light harness, you'll also receive this. Don't worry though, we're going to show you how to install all of these components later throughout the video. Up next, we're going to show you the bracket kit. Your bracket kit is going to come with your brackets and all your hardware. We're going to start with the front brackets. This bracket is labeled PF for passenger front. You can also tell this is a front bracket based on the motor. The motor is going to have a gray connector. This is going to be where it plugs in to our control unit harness. For customers who option for Lumastep M2 light-up running boards, you will also have this extension harness that will be fed through the bracket. So this bracket is labeled rear. These rear brackets are not side dependent and can be mounted either on the driver side or passenger side. These brackets are also free. Your brackets will be labeled for your proper mounting location. You're also going to receive your control unit harness along with your control unit. And then you're going to receive all of the assorted hardware to mount the boards and your brackets.
And finally, here are the tools you'll need for this install.
Now we're going to be installing our brackets. We're going to show you on the passenger side, but installation is identical on the driver's side.
This here's the front mounting location, and this is the rear mounting location.
Now we're installing our passenger front bracket on the first set of studs on your passenger side. Remember, this bracket is going to be labeled PF for passenger front. So for the hardware, we're going to use a flat washer and then a nylon lock nut. Remember, hand tighten only and leave it relatively loose right now. Now swing on over to the other side that's by the motor so we can get the 2 other mounting studs. Remember, these are going to go on in the same way the first one did. So remember, flat washer and lock nut.
Head on over to the rear mounting location.
All right, we're at the third set of studs. There's going to be 3 sets of studs along your rocker. We're at the third one. We're going to have our bracket labeled rear. We're going to be installing this the same way we installed the front bracket. So line up your studs, and now install your hardware. Flat washer, and then your lock nut. Now we're going to swing it over to the other side to install our last mount. All right guys, with that bracket installed, we can go ahead and install the other 2 brackets on the driver's side. Now we have the bracket marked DF. This is going to be for driver front. We're going to mount this the same way as passenger front. It does look a little different, but it bolts up the same. Let's get to it. All right, guys, while we're over here on the driver's side, there's one more thing you might need to take care of regarding this cable cover that comes in your kit. I'm gonna crawl back down and show you. All right, guys, so we're under the vehicle on the driver's side. You might have a parking brake cable that will coincide with one of your bracket mounts. If you do, we provide this cable cover to go over the cable and protect it from interfering with your bracket. Now that we have our brackets installed on both our driver and passenger side, we're gonna start doing wiring. Go ahead and open up your hood now. So now we're gonna start by disconnecting our negative terminal with the battery. If you happen to have an auxiliary battery, disconnect that too. Before we start routing the control unit harness, we wanna give you a little breakdown of what this harness entails. So first we're gonna start at the control unit connector. So this is where the harness is actually gonna plug into your control unit. As we go down, we're gonna have our two battery connections. We're gonna have our power connection with our fuse, and then our ground connection. We're gonna go down a little farther and grab our two motor connectors. These connectors are actually gonna be what's gonna be plugging into our motor. So these are gonna be ran down your fender well and to your motor brackets.
And then, at the end, we have our signal input wires.
Now we're gonna be routing our gray motor connector down the passenger side fender well. Make sure you grab the connector labeled passenger side. And if you chose Boost Auto's Lumastep M2 light up running boards, you're also gonna be routing your two lighting connectors down at this time too. Make sure you grab the harness with the two battery connections for power and ground for your passenger side. Now to route these connectors down the fender well, we're gonna use a straightened out piece of metal. We're using a coat hanger. You're gonna tape it to the coat hanger. Now we're in the driver fender well, and we're gonna remove this clip right here to gain more access so we can route our connectors down to our motor. Let's route a straightened out piece of metal down the firewall and into the fender well. Crawl under and plug these guys in. If you chose Lumastep M2 light up running boards, you're gonna have a lighting extension harness on your bracket. Go ahead and find these two connectors and plug them into their respective spots. Make sure your harnesses are routed safely and secure them out of the way. Now that your passenger side is wrapped up, we're gonna start working on the driver side of the vehicle. Grab your gray motor connector labeled driver side, as well as people installing Lumastep M2. Grab your other lighting harness without the battery connections and route it down the fender well in the same way we did it this side. With both of our driver and passenger harnesses secure and connected to their respective brackets, we're gonna go ahead and secure up our control unit. Now plug in your control unit harness. Make sure it lines up with the control unit. Now we're going to be installing our positive terminal from our control unit harness on the positive terminal of the battery. For Lumastep M2 customers, we're now going to work on our lighting harness. We're going to route our lighting harness down to our headlight connector, but to get access to our headlight connector, we're going to have to partially peel back our fender liner. Let's get at it.
All there is to it are these two screws. This clip, then further up, another screw, and a clip.
Peel back your fender liner to gain access to your headlight connector.
Route the black receiving connector from the lighting harness down to the headlight connector. Now there's a couple ways to hook up to the headlight. Your truck will either have halogen headlights or LED headlights. Of course, you'll be provided with our Hardwire adapter and T-tabs to hook up to either style. But if you want to have an even easier time with the install, you can option for our plug-and-play adapters that you can hook up to LED headlights. Here's how you can hook up the plug-and-play adapters. For those installing the lighting harnesses using our provided Hardwire adapters, we'll show you how to do that after this plug-and-play adapter section. Stay tuned. Disconnect your LED headlight connector. Install one end of the plug-and-play adapter to the connector on the factory harness. Connect the black receiving connector from your lighting harness to the plug-and-play adapter. Then install the other end of the plug-and-play adapter into the headlight. Install the adapter on the other side in the same way. The white wire on the adapter is for hooking up rock light if you optioned for it. We'll get to that in a bit, but if you didn't option for rock light functionality, you can just tape the wire out of the way. The Hardwire adapter taps to the headlight harness. The kit will also come with T-taps. Now the red and yellow wire is to tap to signal. Signal will come standard across all M2 applications. The blue wire is for running light, only if you option for it. Just tape this wire out of the way if you did not option for it. And finally, the white wire is for rock light, only if you optioned for it. If you didn't, simply tape this wire out of the way. Much like the plug-and-play adapters, your boards will be spec'd out to how you configured them, meaning hooking up to the running light or rock light wires if you didn't option for them will not enable that feature. Your headlight will be configured in one of 3 different variations, and so your wiring will also be different. If you have halogen headlights, you'll have a 3-pin connector. On this vehicle, it's a brown connector, but it might be a black connector on your vehicle. However, if you have LED lights, your connectors will look different. Now, LED headlights come in 2 different configurations. 2015 through 2017 trucks will have one type of wiring, and 2018 through 2020 trucks will have another type of wiring. We'll show tapping for all 3 configurations, starting with halogen headlights. Disconnect the 3-pin connector from the headlight housing. Using the provided red T-tap, tap pin 3 for signal. Looking at the wires with the connector tab to the left, pin 3 is at the 3rd slot from the left. Make sure the T-tap clicks in place. Then connect the red and yellow wire from the Hardwire adapter to this T-tap. If your running boards came equipped with running light, tap to pin 2 next, located in the 2nd slot from the left. Again, tap until the red T-tap clicks in place. Then connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter to this T-tap. Next, we'll take the black connector on the Hardwire adapter and connect it to the black receiving connector from the lighting harness. Once done, go ahead and reconnect the headlight connector. Install the lighting harness to the driver's side in the same way. Up next, we'll show you how to install our Hardwire adapter to the LED connector harness for 2015 to 2017 trucks. To begin, disconnect the 16-pin connector from the headlight housing. Peel back some of the tape on the harness if you want some more room. Then start by tapping the wire at pin 1 for signal. Looking at the wire end of the connector with the connector tab pointing up, pin 1 is top left corner of the connector. Go ahead and tap here using the provided red T-tap and press until it clicks in place. Next, on your Hardwire adapter, bring the red and yellow wire over and connect it to the T-tap here. If you option for running light, we'll tap to pin 3 next. With the connector tab pointing up, pin 3 is on the top row, at the 3rd slot from the left. Using the provided red T-tap, tap to the wire here and press until the T-tap clicks in place. Connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter here. Then attach the black receiving connector you just fed down to the Hardwire adapter. With that done, reconnect the headlight connector back to the headlight housing. Install the lighting harness on the driver's side in the same way. Next, let's go over the tap locations for 2018 to 2020 F150s with LED headlights. To begin, disconnect the 16-pin connector from the headlight housing. Peel back some of the tape on the harness if you want some more room. Then start by tapping the wire at pin 2 for signal. Looking at the wire end of the connector, with the connector tab pointing up, pin 2 is on the 1st row in the 2nd slot from the left. Go ahead and tap here using the provided red T-tap and press until it clicks in place. Next, on your Hardwire adapter, bring the red and yellow wire over and connect it to the T-tap here. If you optioned for running light, we'll tap to pin 4 next. Pin 4 is on the 1st row in the 4th slot from the left. Using the provided red T-tap, tap to the wire here and press until the T-tap clicks in place. Connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter here. Then attach the black receiving connector you just fed down to the Hardwire adapter. With that done, reconnect the headlight connector back to the headlight housing. Install the lighting harness on the driver's side in the same way. With our lighting harnesses hooked up to our headlights, we're going to take our pass-through connector and connect it to the other side of the harness. Next, take the positive wire of your Lumastep harness and connect it to your battery. The rock light function on our Lumastep M2 boards overtakes all other functions and outputs a solid white light. If you option for rock light, all you have to do is hook up a fused 12-volt power feed to the white wire on either your plug-and-play adapter or your Hardwire adapter. Our rock light harness makes this very easy. Here's how you can install it.
We're going to take the white wire of our rock light harness and pass it to either our plug-and-play adapter or Hardwire adapter at our headlights. And we're going to do the same for this white wire on the driver's side.
Now we're going to be passing our signal high and low wires through the firewall and into the cabin of the vehicle.
And if you're working with our rock light harness as well, you're going to want to make sure you take the 2 wires attached to your switch and take them off. We're going to take these 4 wires, or 2, and tape them to a straightened out piece of metal so we can pass it through the firewall. We're going to poke through this large grommet located on the driver's side of the vehicle to get our wires into the cab of the vehicle.
Now that we're in the cab with our signal input wires, we're going to continue by hooking them up.
Locate your OBD2 port and remove it.
We have to talk through some technicalities here, folks. Your OBD connector will either be a standalone connector like this or a part of a module like this. This is going to determine your tap locations for the next couple steps. Pay close attention now, as the wires we're about to tap will control the auto retract, auto deploy functionality of your boards. Let's start off with the OBD connector attached to a module. Start by removing the 2 bolts that are holding it in place.
So we're going to take our OBD connector and flip it around to the other side to reveal the back of it. And at the back is where we're going to be tapping.
So with the connector tab down, we're going to be tapping to pin 20 for signal high, located on the top row in the 6th slot from the left. Bring over a control unit tap from your kit, and we'll use the wider end to clamp down on the wire on your OBD connector.
Now we're going to take the wire labeled high, the white and red wire. We're going to take the end off of it, and we're going to place it in our tap.
We're going to be tapping to pin 19 for signal low, located on the top row in the 7th slot from the left. Bring over another control unit tap from your kit, and we'll use the wider end to clamp down on the wire on your OBD connector. Now take the wire marked low, insert it into the narrow end of the tap, and clamp it down.
With our high and low wires tapped, we're going to reinstall our OBD2 connector.
Next, let's go through how to tap to a standalone OBD connector. Begin by removing the 2 bolts that are holding it in place. Rotate the connector to the wire end, keeping the same orientation. Locate pin 6. Pin 6 is on the top row in the 3rd slot from the left. Bring over a control unit tap from your kit, and we'll use the wider end to clamp down on the wire on your OBD connector. Now take the wire labeled high and install it to the narrow end of the control unit tap. In the same way, locate pin 14. Pin 14 is on the bottom row in the 3rd slot from the left. Bring over another control unit tap from your kit, and we'll use the wider end to clamp down on the wire on your OBD connector. Now take the wire labeled low and install it to the narrow end of the control unit tap.
With our high and low wires tapped, we're going to bring our attention back to the rock light harness, and we're going to find a suitable spot on the dash to mount our switch.
If you'd like to mount your rock light switch to your dash, find a suitable spot and drill a hole using a 13/16 inch drill bit. Run the wires through, installing the white wire to pin 1 and the red wire to pin 2 before securing your switch onto your dash.
Finally, we're going to hook up our rock light power wire to our positive terminal on the battery. And now we're going to install our grounds to the battery. We're installing the control unit ground right now. Now we're installing the ground for our lighting harness. Now that we've wrapped up our wiring, we're going to look at our running boards. Whether you chose Lumastep M2 or a Boost Auto's powered running board, the Boost Auto nameplate is going to be facing forward. This ensures correct and proper fitment. We're going to start off by installing the carriage bolts in our bolt channels.
Flip the board over.
Now take your carriage bolt and slide it into the channel on the rear of the board. You're going to need 4 bolts in total. Now try and position these carriage bolts roughly to the position of the brackets. Before we go ahead and install our boards, we need to make sure our brackets are ready to go. So we're going to make sure our rear bracket that is free flowing is all the way deployed. For the front bracket, we're going to open the door to deploy it. You may have received these spacers in your kit. These spacers are provided for people who didn't option for step pads to ensure proper fitment between the body and the boards. They go on top of the brackets, just like so, and the boards just slide into normal place. Now, we're going to take our running board, slide it into place, and then secure it with the lock nuts. We're going to loosely fasten our lock nuts onto the carriage bolts so we can align our board properly. Now push your boards back as far as they'll go, and then close the door. And since we're still in the aligning process, we're gonna have to help the board on the way up. Now position the board to your liking, and then tighten down all your hardware.
Start the tightening process with the boards first, then move on to the brackets.
Finally, hook up your 2 connectors from your lighting harness to your lighting module.
Install a harness guide to your lighting harness extension before plugging the connectors into the board. The guides can be cut to length, and they slide right into the bolt channel on the board for a very sleek appearance.
With the passenger side running board installed, go ahead and install the driver side running board the same way. With our boards installed, all we have left to do is tie up our wiring and reinstall our fender liner. Let's get to it.
Additionally, install the clip at the rear of the fender liner that we took out earlier to pass our harnesses down.
Alright guys, if you own a 15 to 20 F150 and you like the stuff you've seen so far with our Lumastep M2, or you want to purchase our powered running boards, the non-illuminated version, check out our website at boostauto.com. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.